Thumbs are up.
I did put us on Do Not Disturb beforehand. I've actually been remembering
that.
to do that. How's everybody doing? As you can see, we're in a little different. We're coming at you from our living room. Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone and our weekly Q&A about guitar stuff. So we make a post every Tuesday morning on Patreon and for our YouTube members, and we get questions from them. And then we also take questions from you. So if you have guitar questions, put them in the chat right over here or wherever that is. And put a bunch of question marks in front of it so Leslie can try to grab it out of there. And we will get to your questions. If you use a super chat, we will drop what we're doing and answer that question right away. Because sometimes we don't have time to answer all of the questions. So I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters who support the channel, as well as our YouTube members who have hit the little join button down there, because that's what funds making the cool videos. That's basically how it all works. If we have a guitar for review or a product for review or have to buy a bunch of strings for a video, etc., the Patreon dollars and the YouTube membership stuff is what makes all that happen. So we thank you for your support, as well as supporting the links in the description below. StewMac, Sweetwater, and of course Dylan Talks Tone. If you buy pickups, that's what actually feeds us. So thank you for all of your support. So since we don't really have sponsors, that's what I do every week, just so everybody knows what's happening. Is that wider or narrower? Did I go the wrong way?
You zoomed in?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Should probably kick it your way though, a little bit, because it's I don't need to be the center of attention here.
All right. I can't see it, so I will see it in a delay. So, I suppose we have questions. Yes, that's probably about perfect. Okay. I suppose we have some questions.
Suppose.
From Patreon. We're going to take off-topic questions after 9 o'clock, too, just so everybody knows. Yeah.
Ready?
Oh.
Nope.
Before we get going on the questions, everybody saw the thumbnail. The conversation for tonight is I want to know what the best and worst guitar that you have ever had is. That you have ever had. All right, let's go over Patreon questions.
Sure. Zoltan.
What's up, Zoltan?
Hi, Leslie and Dylan. I loved the sneak peek at your pre-work for the 9K Strat workshop at TTG in a few weeks from now. Will you also be there for the second workshop of this kind in early October?
I will. I will be in Colorado in October. I wonder if that means he will be there. I wonder if that's why he's asking. Or maybe he's planning according to what I was going to say.
Maybe he's not going to be there.
Maybe he's like, screw that.
I don't want to be there.
I was going to try to avoid you. He's in Belgium.
Really?
I hope he can come.
That's cool.
Yes, dude. That'd be so sweet. Heck yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Cool.
You ready for the next one?
I am.
Next one is from Nick. Hi, Dylan. What's the best way to contact you?
Go to the website, dylantalkstone.com, and hit the chat on the bottom of the website, and it comes up on my phone. And the reason I like that is because it's directly related to the website, so I can share, most people are asking, what pickups, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah. And then they can just go right. And it also shows me, if you've been shopping around, it'll show me, you're looking at two different humbuckers and you're trying to make a choice. It'll show me that. And then I'll know what your questions are. Because sometimes people aren't specific enough with the questions. So that really helps. And it is a chat thing. But also, don't forget that I am a person. So if it takes me a half hour, 45 minutes, or sometimes a couple hours, if it's on the weekend, or a half a day to
It's not a live chat.
Yeah, it's not a live chat. It's just a direct chat with me, but that is the best way. And then we have all that and we can go back and look at it and stuff. It's awesome. We just added it maybe a month ago, and man, it has really helped me out because here's why. I do not answer business inquiries usually from Instagram, Facebook messages, Twitter DMs, because I get so much spam that I cannot. Well, I talked to you about this in a Facebook message. I'm like, Facebook pages never notifies me properly. So I could have something sitting in that inbox for a month and I won't know about it. Or it could be in some alternate kind of spam inbox and I never see it.
Because you're not friends with them.
Yeah, because I'm not friends with you on Facebook or whatever. So it just is a big pain. So use the chat thing. The other thing we added, just while we're here, the other thing we added to the website this week is reviews. So if you have ever ordered anything from me and received it and put it in your guitar, please go to the website, pick the product that you ordered, and just go scroll down to the bottom and it'll be a add a review thing right there. Please add a review of the stuff that you, I think we've probably got 40 or 50 of them now.
In like a day.
In like a couple days.
Yeah.
So thanks for all the enthusiasm for sharing reviews because, I can talk about how awesome this stuff is, but people want to hear from other people besides me.
And if I feel like you have really good advocates in YouTube comments, right? But not everybody finds you via YouTube.
No.
Or not everybody reads comments, so.
No, that's true. And people have been sharing like pictures of their guitars that, they put the pickups in and stuff, which just gives people ideas. You know what I mean? So it's super cool. So thank you for everybody for doing that. I appreciate it. It's just another way to interact on that stuff.
And he's acting like no big deal. He was so stoked, y'all. So
super stoked.
Really, thank you for those of you that did it already.
Big time. Yeah, big time. I was like, holy crap, these people love this stuff. Because the other thing is, we put it in those white boxes, we stack them on the coffee table, and we take them to the post office every day. And they just disappear. I don't know. I mean, I know they get where they go. Otherwise, people would be like, hey, I didn't get my stuff. But
you don't always get to see the finished result.
Yeah. So seeing pictures and seeing what they actually liked about the thing, because there's been some stuff where they've noticed things and liked things about the pickups that I never really thought of before. I mean, I know what I wanted to do when I created something, but somebody else uses it a different way than I do. And then they're like, I like this aspect. P-bass pickups, for example. I'm not a bass player.
Right.
And so people were really constructive about it. So thank you. Anyway, little tangent there, but it was really important to me.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you really quick.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can't really hear that.
I can hear.
Van Shank Guitars, 31 months of membership.
Dang.
And he says, I always come up with questions, but by the time the post comes up, I forgot already. So he didn't even have a question, but he is celebrating 31 months of membership, and that is really cool.
Thanks, Ivan. And he's actually part of our Patreon hangout every month too. And so he comes and hangs out live with us. We have that Zoom meeting the fourth Monday of every month, and it's been really fun. Cool. Well, let's do another Patreon quiz. Is there any more?
Yeah, I think I have 2 more, if I'm counting correctly. Yes.
Okay.
Joshua, hey y'all, 1 single and 1 humbucker that splits 250K or 500K? That's the first question.
500.
What is your opinion on just using tone control for neck only on 1 volume, 1 tone guitar?
Oh, I've never done that. That you could do that. Well, I guess a Strat does that, right? A Strat is tone control on the neck in the middle and not on the bridge. So yeah, you could do that. Basically what you would do is you would hook up the tone to the switch where the pickup is, not to the output of the switch. So it would only work on that pickup. But that'd be cool.
And Rob. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. I head out for vacation later today, so I'm not sure I'll be able to join you and your friends this evening. I do wish to take this opportunity to thank you both for all that you do for the DTT community. You two are awesome.
Thanks, Rob.
That's really nice. Do we know which Rob that is?
F.
Rob F. Vacation. I wonder if he's taking like all of his grandkids.
I don't know. He has a bunch of fam.
Oh, maybe it's kids? It's kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
I think he's got a couple.
He has a bunch of
grandkids
fam
too.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
If so, he'll need a vacation from vacation.
Is there one more?
Nope.
Okay.
Did you forget one?
Nope. That's it.
Cool.
Cool. I thought you couldn't remember if you said one or two or whatever. Awesome.
I said two, and I did
Well, we should talk about best and worst guitars. I want to know what best and worst guitars people had.
too. What people are starting to say.
Yeah.
All right. Fanshank Guitars says Harley Benton for worst.
Yep, I get that.
Martian Murray says Jazzmaster for best and worst.
Interesting. Yeah, so you had a good one and you had a terrible one, it sounds like. All right.
Hawkman Hawk says PRS is the only brand I have never picked up a stinker. Not my favorite, but the quality is always there.
Until this last one that I just bought, I would have totally agreed with you. It's fine now. I fixed it, but I would have totally agreed with you until this last one.
Gary Simmons, worst, poor playability and poor sound, but within factory specs. Probably some no-name super cheap import at a department store. Worst USA made guitar, that'd be an interesting discussion.
Well, not worst as in worst perceived, worst that you've ever had. If you have had a bunch of American guitars, what was your worst one?
Did you post questions for YouTube members?
Yeah.
Did you get them?
Yeah.
I think Patrick must have thinks he asked a question, perhaps.
Oh, he said something about okay, he did post that he got his pickups.
Yes.
And he shared a review. And I just thought he was telling me that. I didn't know that was a...
Thank you, Patrick.
So thank you for doing that, Patrick. Yeah.
If you have a question, I'll look for it
Yep.
if we missed something. Jeffrey Egan says, I haven't had any problems with my Harley Bentons. Had a pickup go out in my fender, though.
Makes sense. That happens.
Let's see. Vinny's World says, worst guitar, the one that I sold. What's gone is gone. Best guitar, the one that I don't have yet. Gotta fuel that gas. Capital gas.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Is that what that means?
Yeah. Gun
Fuel
acquisition
that
syndrome.
gas is a strange phrase. Gary Simmons, worst, Hondo 2 Les Paul, copy that I bought in 1978 as my first guitar. Best, PRS Studio that I bought in December. Honorable mention, Sir Modern.
Isn't it interesting that 70s guitars were pretty terrible? Kind of across the board. Even good ones weren't as good as other ones. They kind of just were, especially all that student stuff. Everybody wants to say that all that Japanese stuff from the 70s was great, and it wasn't. They're trying to be idealistic about something, but they weren't. They were boat anchors, like all those Japanese Les Pauls, Tokais, and Ibanez's. The pickups were horrendous. The wiring was rat's nests, and they all weighed like 1,000,000 pounds. People thought they were cool because they thought they were cool, but they weren't really that good. And all those 70s guitars were kind of like that, just kind of big boat anchors of guitars, especially the cheap ones.
Want some more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Corey Forgrave, best in terms of attention to detail, Schecter Custom Shop DJ Ashba
Yep.
Worst, BC Rich Rave, the Warlock shape, my first electric.
Interesting. That's really interesting because knowing how old Corey is, because I've met Corey Foregrave, if his first guitar was when he was young, then that would put that in that same mid 80s, early 80s time period of guitar that was, they were just starting to get better at that point. Yep.
Let's see. There's still some more coming in. I was trying to grab some while you were talking. All right. Curtis Chavez, worst guitar, BC Rich Eagle. A local guy routed and installed a Kaler into it, and it sounded like an electric banjo after that.
Ugh.
Best, Japanese Strat 60s reissue with early Fender custom shop pickups.
Huh. Oh, a home routed Kaler and a BC Rich. That's an interesting. I need to do a video on my first guitar because I have it still and it's got one of those bridges in it. Not that one, but it's got a Series 1 bridge in it.
Joe Coach, best, Gibson Les Paul 60s standard. Worst, Epiphone Goth Explorer. Hated the body style, clunky and hard to play.
Interesting. I like Explorers. That's really funny. I mean, I sold mine right away because I didn't need it, but I really liked it.
Fat Philosopher, worst, Steinberg Spirit Headless. Best, Dean VMNT. Prettiest, Sahana Huchil.
I don't know what that is, but he's in Japan, so he might have access to stuff that we don't have.
He said it's the prettiest.
That's pretty cool. You should post in the group on Facebook a picture of that guitar, because I don't know what that is. I'm interested to see that.
Rottweiler, best, 98 PRS CE24. Worst, hard to say. The weakest link in my guitar rig always ends up being me.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
BC Rich 581, worst, Spirit Series headless basses. Best, Rob Allen 5-string fretless.
So didn't Fat Philosopher say that he had a Spirit headless? I wonder if that was because that was a particular era of guitar that just wasn't very good, or if just nobody liked those. Interesting.
I'm So Pretty, Oh So Pretty. Bad. Ibanez 12-string curly maple. Very pretty, but the pickups and EQ shat the bed. I wasn't ready for that. Best, Macmil Stinger with P90s.
I don't know what that is. I'm learning about a whole bunch of guitars I've never heard of before. You know why it is because people have tried stuff. What's really funny is...
Oh, Fat Philosopher said that Sahana is his thumbnail. So the green one, I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I have seen a picture of that guitar before. Yep.
What was that noise? Oh, somebody else.
Children.
Joe Coach says, another worst. Jackson JS32 with Floyd Rose would go out of tune adjusting the volume knob. That's very specific. Let's see where I left off. Read that. Van Shank Guitar says, I think my best guitar was an Epiphone Les Paul 2005 standard made in Korea. I sold it to buy a Gibson Les Paul Jr. Big mistake.
Interesting.
All right, here's Patrick.
Okay.
With your Super 8 pickup in my art and guitar project,
Yes.
go with a 500K volume and 500K tone. On that pickup, which cap goes best on the Super 8? .0033. You know best on your pickup.
33. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yep. That is exactly what I would do.
Rusty Shackelford said, second worst is an 80-something Korean Les Paul knockoff with a broken neck at the body. I still have that one.
So there is a there is definitely a theme going here.
Okay.
And it is guitars that were never actually good from a time period where there were more bad guitars. All this stuff, not all of it, not to a guy here or a gal. I don't know who everybody is here, but most of these worst are like budget guitars from the 70s and 80s. There are some few newer ones. There was a Harley Minton in there. But a lot of this stuff, it makes sense. And I did not expect this. I did not expect this at all when asking this question. Because I thought we were going to hear about more modern cheap guitars.
But if they're not buying them,
maybe they aren't. Maybe they aren't. Because it also sounds like a lot of these folks have had like old cheap guitars in their past, and now they have some pretty good ones. Because their best these are neat guitars we're talking about. Some PRSs, some PRS SEs, some a Jazzmaster, so it's really interesting that they are, first of all, you're playing some really cool stuff. And second of all, I don't know. I don't know what I expected. But I did not expect...
I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that.
But it wasn't that.
Be like, I don't know what I want for dinner, but I don't want
I
whatever
know I
you
don't want
suggest.
that. Yeah. I just didn't know that it was going to be genuinely, truly bad guitars. I was wondering if it, like, kind of commonly known to be. You know what I mean? Like, 70s and early 80s cheaper guitars were not as good, obviously. And they're way better now. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I expected.
Do you want a few more?
Yeah.
We probably need to go a little faster.
Okay.
Mark Stanton said, my first guitar was the worst. It was a cheap, classical, student-level guitar. The best is my Telly. Is that what he built?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, and he also has a custom shop Telly.
Oh.
Yep.
What did he build?
He built a Telly too.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Chuck C. Worst. Ovation CS257.
No lie.
Best. Epiphone Carina Explorer. Jim Cox. Worst. Sears bass from 81 or 82. Best. G&L Tribute ASAT Classic from 2021.
Ooh, that's a cool guitar.
Jacob Barrel? I probably messed that up. Sorry, Jacob. Worst, knockoff Strat that was my first guitar. A few years later, I took it apart and released the bridge. It was too far back, so it couldn't be intonated. Rusty Shackleford said, best guitar I ever had was a 2004 Les Paul with awesome flame top, weighed a ton. Needed a special strap for weight. Been searching for it off and on to see if I can ever buy it back. John Waller, my first guitar was likely my worst. My friend's old no-name Strat copy. Best guitars I've played are my Kiesel guitars. Just got my 8th one today.
Cool. I've talked to Phil McKnight about those and a couple other people. And everybody I talk to has like 8 of them. Like once they get hooked on them, they just want to keep buying them because they're cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zachary David, worst. West Tone guitars, 1987. Awful pretend guitars. Best, Edwards ELP Custom 2002. Both were made in Japan.
So Edwards, or I apologize, West Tone, that brand got bought by somebody recently. And I can't remember who. And they're supposed to be reissuing, and they're supposed to be pretty good. They're still going to be a more budget guitar, but I know what you're saying, and just FYI, keep an eye out for them because I'm pretty sure they're coming back. But it's sort of like the Silvertone thing where somebody owns the trademarks and the designs, and they're coming out with import kind of reissues of them, but they're supposed to be okay.
Jacob Burrell says the best was a 1981 Gibson SG I got for $250 because a friend needed money fast and I offered it for that.
That's amazing.
Rusty Fender's worst, Epiphone Wildcat, had very bad fretwork. Best has to be my Art Core that's still going 20 years later, has the Stray Cats vibes.
And that's like a $400 guitar. Those are awesome.
Let's see. Gary Simmons says your chat members are old. We bought cheap stuff decades ago.
I don't make assumptions because I cannot tell by a username.
Windsurf Maui said, I never had a bad guitar, only those I couldn't bond with. Best, Warmoth Strat mahogany body with Warmoth mahogany neck and with stainless jumbo frets and boat neck shape. That was a mouthful. IBJI, I always want to say IBG, I don't even know why. Best and worst was the same guitar, 1973 Strat. Had all the downers of being a CBS era, but it had that sound, that tone.
Yep. I would love to own one of those now, but even those are getting up there.
Rusty, worst, Rogue Rocketeer.
Ooh, that's pretty bad.
Best, Epiphone Les Paul Pro 2.
Yeah.
Shiznit said first act probably had the worst guitar I've played.
I mean, you know, they're like a Walmart kind of thing, right? They're owned by Gibson, I think, though.
Angel Raven 444 says, hiya all. Never had a guitar that was crap because it's got to have that mojo or I won't buy it. Also, I can't remember all my guitars anyways.
That's kind of me now, but everybody go ahead and if you have guitar questions, get them in. Put a bunch of question marks in front of them if you have questions and get them in. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you what mine are.
Let's do a few more because I'm almost caught up.
Okay.
Patrick Hardy says, my very first guitar was an air guitar. It was the best. The mind of a child.
I mean, you can't go wrong with it.
I mean, if that's the case, I could play guitar.
It's never out of tune.
I'm So Pretty, Oh So Pretty says, runner-up on best. A 2002 Fender Jaguar 66 Kurt Cobain.
Ooh.
HJG 66 KC4.
I don't know what
made
the
in
hell that
Japan.
means.
And yep, it has the Japanese flag tone. Anybody make that connection? Leslie.
No.
Well, the Japanese flag looks like what?
It's white with the red circle.
Yeah. It is.
That's all I got.
I think people think it looks like a butthole.
Oh.
Super chat.
Super chat. I heard the noise.
Super chat from Corey Forgrave. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Corey,
for the super chat. Just watched your Relic video. I want to try it. Did you find that heating it one hand and cooling it with the other directly was the best method? Anything you learned not to do?
Yes. So, yeah, it takes 2 cans to do a guitar, first of all. 2 like 20-ounce cans. Doing it in short spurts. And yes, heating it in one hand and cooling it with the other right away works. Don't get it so hot that in a couple of places, I got it hot enough to where it would like shrink into the grain, and it doesn't really come back from that. So just make sure that it's like hot enough to touch, but that you don't shrink the finish, because you can shrink the finish with heat. The the longer you wait before you do it with, because it has to be nitrocellulose. The longer you wait, the better. I want to say this guitar's probably been painted not quite a year. When did I get it? I got it in May, which means
It's a little.
no. I got it in
September.
Yeah, so it means it's probably been painted about a year. It was just borderline enough to do it, and it actually, after a few days, it sort of closed back up some. So that's why I rubbed an oily rag all over it. If you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook or in the Facebook group, you'll see what I did was I used brake dust, and everybody flipped out, but there's no asbestos in a 2022 Audi brake pad, just so you know. And it's not metallic, so it's not going to hurt anything. Anyways, I just got a dirty rag, and I rubbed it all over the guitar, and then I wiped the guitar back off, and the black kind of went into the cracks to re-emphasize them some, because some of the cracks kind of closed up afterwards. So they fissured and opened up, and then over the next few days, they kind of closed back up a little bit, and you couldn't see them as much. So it's probably going to depend on the thickness of your finish. It's going to depend on the age of your finish, and it's going to depend on, the thickness and the age, and the color as to what kind of contrast you get. Those would be my tips. Thanks for the super chat, Corey.
People are loud. You ready for questions? Or are you going to talk about yours?
Yeah. Oh, we haven't talked
You have
about
to talk
mine.
about yours.
Okay, so the worst guitar I've ever had is the Kolos guitar with the plastic neck. That was the worst guitar ever. But that was for a demo, and that was something I didn't actually own. The worst guitar I've ever had for a demo guitar, or for a guitar that I've actually owned, is probably... What did I just not keep?
That's a long list.
No, I know, but I mean, like, a lot of the stuff I'll be like, I'd keep this, but I didn't want it. Didn't want it at all. Probably Mexican Stratocaster is the worst guitar I've ever had. The Squires have been better. At least up until recently. I need to get another one and see if they're still bad. But and then the best guitar I've ever had is probably my American Silver Sky. That's probably the best guitar I've ever had. Between that and my Les Paul. My Les Paul is freaking amazing. And I mean, I sold my Silver Sky, and I still have my Les Paul. So maybe it's my Les Paul. Except if you count acoustic guitars, then it's my Breedlove. Because that guitar is unbelievable. It hangs in the living room, and that's the one I play that a lot. I have two McPhersons in here, and I have I have 3 carbon fiber guitars and 1 wooden guitar. But that one is unbelievable. That Breedlove Premier Dreadnought, they don't even make it anymore. It's the best guitar I've ever had, bar none, period. I love that thing. But the best electric is probably my Les Paul, for sure.
So you never put anything on the TV? You're just looking at it over there?
I'm just looking at it because I didn't end up doing it because I thought this was going to be dead and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't.
Okay.
It's fine. We're good.
Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rusty Shackelford wants to know, Can anyone tell a PRS 10 apart from a regular top without a 10 drawn on the headstock?
I have friends that are big PRS fans and they know what they're looking for. It's the same thing with like a AAA Les Paul top. Like I have a AAA top on my Les Paul and it's pretty, but it's not like, ooh, you know what I mean? It's just a piece of wood. I think you have to be into it to know. And I don't care. So I don't know. But I know, like Scott, he will tell you if this is a 10 top or if this is a whatever.
What does that even mean? What is
It's the rating of how good the wood is, like how fancy the wood is. You know, like with all the figuring.
What's the scale? 10 is the best?
I don't even know.
Oh.
I don't know if it's in increments of what. I don't know actually. But I know that Scott, it really, or at least he thinks he does. I mean, he's told me all kind of details about that stuff because he's ordered them specifically different ways. And so I do have one friend, yeah. But other than that, I've never given it any thought because I don't care. I just look at a guitar and go like, that looks cool. And it doesn't matter to me what it is, really, I think. I don't get into those details as much. Next.
Sure. Rusty Shackelford again is in my list. What are narrow field pickups? They look like humbuckers, but people talk about them like single coils. I'm very confused.
They're just... all they are is skinny humbuckers. That's all they are.
What are the bobbins?
They are... so I have seen PRS narrow field pickups that have fiber bobbins that are wound. And then I've also seen them with plastic bobbins. On this new guitar, I don't know what it is because I haven't seen one in person. So I don't know. But they're just skinny humbuckers. That's all they really are.
What would you replace them with? What would fit in the slot?
Nothing. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are unique.
They are unique for sure. Mm-hmm. They sound great. I mean, they sound great. That guitar sounds really good. But I don't know. I don't know why. This, you know, we were talking about, somebody was asking me about Paul Reed Smith the other day in the podcast because Blake and Ryan both, you know, like grilled him on stuff. And they were like, "What? I want to see you interview him." And I'm like, I would disappoint you because I wouldn't, like, I would ask him all kind of questions about how he built his business. I would not challenge,
not guitars.
Yeah, I would not challenge him on tone wood.
No.
You know what I mean? But one of the things I think about with him and that pickup is that his way because he has the resources and he has a brand that he can come up with something that's a little different and it doesn't have to fit anything because he can design it from scratch. And they're good out of the box, so he can make something that's off the wall like that and it'll fly. However, I don't know how well that guitar is going to do. We'll just have to see if it's selling good. We'll know pretty quick.
Ed DePriest, Dylan, what do you think of the new Fender limited edition thin line? Is it their answer to the PRS Telly copies at $3K?
No. Telly's a Telly. And the PRS thing's not a Telly. And a limited edition thin line Fender is going to be $3,000. That makes sense. The additional labor and finishing costs of that makes sense that would be $3,000. So I think it's just kind of falls in line with where it should be at that price for what that guitar is. Yep.
Joe Coach says, hey Dylan, I loved your parts bin guitar video. So true and transparent. One of my favorite vids.
Thanks, man. Got a lot of criticism on that one, but it's just trying to be honest about it. What's funny is I wasn't necessarily saying that cheap guitars are bad, because they're awesome. We've been talking about them for the last half an hour. But I just like people to realize what they're getting when they buy stuff, is all.
So I'm so pretty, oh so pretty,
Uh-huh.
said, I think the narrow are the gold foil things on the 3 pickup JM. I'm probably wrong.
No, those are actually mini humbuckers. Those
So
are actually
narrow
the
whatever.
narrow field humbuckers are what is on the PRS.
Are different than
Yes.
mini humbuckers.
And mini, sort of. They're just skinny humbuckers. The design is totally
People
different.
said they were humbuckers on a diet.
They're totally different form factor, though. They're not interchangeable.
Cool. Super chat from Jason Gale. Thank you for the super chat, Jason. He says, how killer would olive maybe be for building guitars? I've cut down my olive tree. I have at least 10 guitar reserve olive wood. I spoke to Matt at Texas Toast Guitars yesterday and got mil specs.
Interesting. So, I don't have experience with olive wood and guitar stuff. I just know that it makes very stable knife handles.
Oh, they use olive wood a lot?
Lots of handles. Straight razors, like to shave with, have olive wood handles. They're really stable when once they're sealed from moisture and stuff. And
I would imagine it's just expensive. So, like, most people probably, it's not like an attainable thing.
Right.
I would imagine.
But a lot of bushcrafter knives and a lot of hunting knives. And then, like, if you go to Italy, of course, Italy, a lot of that stuff that comes out of Maniago, Italy, has olive wood handles on it. So I know it's a really stable and hard wood, but I don't know anything about it for building guitars. As long as it's millable. So the thing about wood for electric guitars is you would want a density and a weight that would work with the measurement of wood. So when you have a body blank done, you want it to be, 4 pounds or less. So if it's super heavy, like, hickory or something, that wouldn't.
I'm not sure I understand.
You don't understand much. That wouldn't work very well. And then hickory is also really hard to machine. Ironwood is really hard to machine. There's certain woods that are really hard to machine. So as long as it is machinable and it's not so heavy that you don't want to pick up the guitar when it's done, it's probably awesome.
And that was Jason Gale's first super chat to us. So thank you for your very first super chat.
Thank you, Jason.
It like gave me this whole little celebration
Jason's
thing.
been around for a long time. So thanks for the super chat.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's probably really loud. Remember, you have a mic
Oh,
right by
I
your
do.
face.
Crunching ice with a lavalier mic on. I just bumped it too a few minutes ago. Please let me know how the olive wood thing goes in the Facebook group or whatever, because that is fascinating. I'm interested.
SW says, hey Dylan, is a Squire CV Jazzmaster worth picking up? I have a CIJ Jag and like playing surf stuff.
Absolutely. Classic Vibe series of Squires is probably one of the best. I would say it's one of the best guitars under $800.
Brian Carpenter, are you familiar with the Reverend Guitar's bass contour control? Is it a type of modification you can make to any guitar, or is it because of special pots or pickups?
Nope. It is actually, it is a modification you can do. You can actually Google Reverend bass contour. Pot selection, I want to say, I just did one of these for Sean McMillan a couple months ago. And I want to say, and I will never do it again, so don't try to order it or ask me about it. I don't want to ever do it again because it was a pain. But his particular setup, we were trying to engineer it from nothing. I want to say the volume pot was one. It's like the tone controls. Like one of them was 500, and then the bass contour was 250, maybe. You have to just Google I can't remember, but you just have to Google a wiring diagram. Also, the pots the caps are interesting values. They're not just 15, 22, 33, 47. There's some other weird. There's two pots, or two, I keep saying that, two capacitors that are way different than a normal tone cap for that circuit. So you'll just have to make sure you get the right cap is the secret. But if you Google that, you'll find that wiring diagram and just do it up. Kind of neat.
Rusty Fenders. 50s Esquire wiring. Which capacitors would you use? Any other recommendation?
It's a 0.1 microfarad, I think, or a 0.01 microfarad on the base cap, and then a 0.015 on the tone cap.
What is a base cap?
So the 50s Esquire had a bass circuit in it when you flipped it all the way forward, and the old Tellys did too, because they didn't have bass guitars back then. So it would make it to where when you flipped it in the forward position, it was like the tone knob was all the way down. And that's
instead of having a tone knob?
Instead of having a bass player. So it'd be real thumpy.
So somebody would just play the guitar like that?
Yeah. Not
like you could be that versatile.
Yeah. So if you think Johnny Cash, early stuff, that dung 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 like that, they had an upright bass. But when playing in a live situation, they would do that on the guitar in the bass circuit side because it was louder. They did not have precision bass, and jazz bass hadn't been invented yet.
Interesting.
So in order to play the bass, you would have your neck and your middle pickups. No, you had a neck pickup with no capacitor, and you had a bridge pickup. But in the all the way forward position, it would be this bass circuit that you would use to play as a bass guitar.
This is a comment, so I'm assuming it's public knowledge. But Jason Gale just said, by the way, I'm in the hospital for a week now. Stage 4 colon cancer, and I'm healing from surgery okay. But when I get out and my house sells, I'm buying an RV in Phoenix and a 60s Pontiac GTO and driving to Colorado.
That's awesome. I hope you...
Wow.
Well, thanks for sharing. And I hope everything is okay.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like it is.
He said he's healing okay.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, good.
Let's see.
Motorhome and a GTO is not a bad way to live. I've had both.
Curtis Chavez. I'm scared of air guitars now. I went a little cuckoo and jumped onto the sofa back. I'm heavier than I used to be. So instead of doing a cool air riff, the sofa flipped and I pulled a giblet. A giblet? A giblet?
God.
Like, I don't even know what that means.
That is so funny.
What is it? What is that?
I don't know.
I thought that was food.
Well,
So I don't know what
but
you
it's
mean
a
when
piece
it's
of
a
a chicken.
body part.
It's a body part of
So
an
like
animal.
he pulled his neck?
No, I think it has to do with... I don't know.
Let's,
Google it.
Let's make sure we have
Private browser.
incognito going here. Somebody's probably going to tell me before I get it pulled up. Yeah, it's like liver, heart, gizzard. It's the stuff you pull out of the chicken. Like,
oh, it's the stuff the guts of the turkey.
yeah, so I don't know what you mean when
turkey.
you say you pulled it. Like, did you pull your liver? Like, I don't know what a gizzard is. Anyway, I don't know. Didn't make gravy with it, I guess.
Nope.
Giblet gravy is a very southern thing that I do not eat. I'm so pretty, oh so pretty. It's really hard to say that with a straight face. Hey Dylan, have you ever played one of those lava acoustic shtick things?
I played one at NAMM, and they were supposed to send me one, and then they never did. But I don't care because I think it's kind of a gimmick. But yes, I have. They're okay. If it was me and I was getting a travel guitar of any kind, I would save up the money. I know they're a little more expensive, and I would buy a close carbon fiber guitar, and I'd use the link in the description. I'd get a close carbon fiber guitar. I know they're expensive. They're not cheap, but they are really good for what they are. And if you want a really good travel guitar, then get a McPherson Touring. But that's another $1,000 on top of that.
Yeah, I knew people would come through for it. My eyes are killing me with this wind, man. I can't see. Hang on, I had to release So somebody was like, Zach Pack says giblet is organ scraps.
Yep.
Doc Stilton said, gravy. Joe Coach says, hey Leslie, he banged up his coin purse. Timothy Potter says, pulled a giblet meant busting a nut when I grew up.
Oh, my
Marcia
gosh.
Murray says, he got a hernia. Oh, anyway, that's funny. Let's see. I don't know. Brian Carpenter, I don't know what his question was, but I feel like this is an extension of something.
Okay.
He said, I guess I'm curious what kind of pot you'd need and if the pickups are specially wired. I have to try and find a wiring diagram.
Oh,
Is that what you just talked about?
you would need, if you find the wiring, that you literally just Google Reverend bass contour circuit. You will find it. And it will show you a picture of the pot, how many, it'll literally be a picture of all the parts. And it'll show you, I have seen it because it's what I used. And it will tell you what value of pots and what, the pickups aren't special. The pickups just hook up to the switch. But it's just how that other pot is wired that matters.
Eric Lettinger. Are the 1970s Ibanez lawsuit Les Pauls any good or just junk?
First of all, there is no such a thing. If you look into that, there was no lawsuit about that in the way that everybody says. I have a whole video about this with the lawyer that actually was involved in all of that, and it's all a big sham. Basically, it's guitars that were made during a time period, but there was never actually a lawsuit between Fender and Ibanez. There was a challenge to a trademark, but there was never actually a lawsuit. So there are no lawsuit guitars. That is a made-up thing. As far as whether they're good or not, if you like them, they are good. I do not like them. I think they are heavy boat anchors with terrible pickups, with hardware that tarnishes super easy, with cheap frets. They are import guitars from the 70s. And everybody who hates Gibson wants to say that they're way better, and they're not. They're not. I mean, a Norland era Les Paul is a heavy guitar because all the wood during that time period was just heavy. But, because that's a Norland era Les Paul, the 70s. But I've played a lot of 70s Les Pauls, and they're really good. And they're heavy, but they're really good. And they have weird design things about them. You know, the peg head is it's like a little bigger and stuff. They have, there's some stuff that makes them maybe less desirable to some people because they're kind of ugly or whatever. But, and the colors were weird and all that. But those Japanese ones are just knockoff. They're like the Harley Bentons of the 70s. They're just knockoff guitars. That's all they are. They're not special. And everybody wants to say that those and the Tokais were all amazing. But I have played a lot of them. I have worked on a lot of them. I have replaced pickups in a lot of them. And I will tell you, they are all heavy and terrible. But that is my opinion. And you can, if you like them, or if you have one, or you want to get one because they are cool to have. I mean, that's enough to justify getting one because they're cool to have. I won't though.
Oh, I don't want my foot in the video. That's weird. That's weird. Alonzo White. I still plan to buy the HSS strap pickups from you this weekend.
Sweet.
As a Patreon, I receive a small discount, correct? How do you know I'm a Patreon when I order from your website?
You should send me a message on Patreon and I will give you the discount code.
Yep. So there is a code if you're on Patreon.
Yes.
It's been posted, but maybe you misplaced it.
Yeah.
And how do you know? He verifies.
I verify.
I verified that he verified.
Yeah, I verify. And if people quit Patreon, I check. I know that some have probably slipped through in the past, but if you're a jerk and you do that to me, then I'll find out.
I'll find you.
I mean, it's sort of an honor system thing too. The people that are on Patreon are cool. That's why they're there. And they appreciate what we do. So I would hope that they would not try to cheat me out of money. You know what I mean?
Well, Alonzo's not a new name.
Yeah, no, he's around. I know you're around. So just send me a message on Patreon through the message thing, and I will give you the discount code so you can use it. Because on single hum pickups, that'll save you $30 probably. So if you're $5 a month Patreon member for a couple months and you buy single hum, it saves you $35 or whatever, or something right in there. That's worth it, you know.
Marcia Murray, do you have any idea why the NF53 and Miles Kennedy are the same price despite one being a signature with more electronics?
That might have been a Miles Kennedy thing. They may have negotiated that.
All right, you have 2 minutes left and like a few comments.
Oh, let's go.
Curtis Chavez.
Lightning round.
Anyone here ever play a modern harmony guitar? They seem really nice.
They are.
Rusty
I have.
Shackelford. Did you think about relicing the whole guitar at once, such as leaving it outside and then bringing it in, or putting it in a walk-in fridge, then bring it outside? I just assume you know someone with a commercial fridge.
I don't, and I didn't because I wanted to do it like that because it's something that everybody could do. I wanted to show you.
Gary Simmons, I specifically bought the PRS Studio for the narrow field pickups and the 5815 LT bridge. It just sounded better than everything else I ABC'd it with.
There you go. So he likes those pickups, and they are very cool and they're very unique for sure.
Alonzo White said, thanks, Dylan. I love your channel. By the way, I paid for the year.
Thanks, man.
Corey Forgrave, have you ever tried to make your own capacitors, like the old oil capacitors?
No, you know why? Because capacitors cost like $5.
Didn't Jimmy do that? Did Jimmy make his? Or?
Yeah, he tried to.
Oh. 44 Scoots. Telly high E string is weak. Any ideas?
Bad string, bad nut, bad saddle, bad pickup.
Okay. 8:59. Let's see. Jason Gale said he'll let you know about the olive.
Yeah, it sounds neat.
I think, all right, last question. What do you Greg Stemple. What do you think of the Squire Paranormal Esquire Deluxe Blue Sparkle?
Really cool.
Very
I
specific.
think you should get one. I think they're really neat. And we're making pickups for all that stuff. So, yeah.
'Tis 9.
All right. 9 o'clock.
That was o'clock, not a clock.
9 o'clock signifies off-topic hour. So from 9 o'clock on, the only way you can ask a guitar question is if you use a super chat. If you want to ask a guitar
You
question,
can ask them.
you can ask them. We're not going to answer them. The only way we're going to answer a guitar question after 9 o'clock is if you use a super chat. Otherwise, it's off-topic hour, and you can ask us whatever you want. Not about guitars, and we might answer it. Most of the time we do. And for those of you that are new, the reason we do this is because we are just trying to hang out, get to know you. And you could use a super chat for other things too, obviously. Oh, super chat.
Like Sassy Cat. Thank you for the super chat,
Thanks,
Sassy
sir.
Cat. Reverend pickups aren't special? Don't let Joe Naylor hear you say that. He designs their pickups.
So Joe Naylor's pickups are really cool. Reverend pickups, like I'm talking about like their, all their singles and all their P90s and all that stuff. They're just pickups. They're just pickups from Artec. But the Railhammer stuff is cool. Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat. What do you want to do? You want me to grab the ones
Yeah, you
that
have
are
two-
over to the
we have-
side?
Because people can actually ask questions on Patreon for the off-topic hour too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was just going to say this because it's a comment to me, but I saved it for now. Jeffrey Egan said, Leslie, I had to buy a pack of Haribo gummies after last week's stream.
Oh my gosh.
I get it. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I never thought about how you say it. I don't say it. They are gummy bears. That's it.
That's the gummy bear.
only ones. Anyway.
That's the gummy bear.
Charles, knife of the night.
Medford Tools. Medford Knife and Tool. Smooth Criminal.
It's kind of music related.
Yep. I really like.
Yeah. Now it will be stuck in your head.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I really like this knife.
Just wanted to say thank you for all the time you share with us. 33 years tomorrow. So we're on the road tonight, but we are still watching. Stay safe. He says we, so that means his wife watches too? Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Happy anniversary,
that.
Charles.
Yeah,
That's
happy
really
anniversary.
neato, man.
33 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's cool. It's really cool.
Long time. Yeah, y'all have fun. Wonder where they're going. Dawn, off topic. How spectacular do you think Ricardo has to be to keep his seat at AlphaTauri next year? Or do you think it's possible for him to move up to replace Perez? I don't see either happening without a miracle as much as I like Daniel.
Christian Horner said last week that they have no plans to change anything at Red Bull. I think the outcome of this is going to have to be how Daniel Ricciardo does in relation to Yuki Tsunoda. Because it will be an internal team battle now. Who scores the most points, right? So, who has the best lap, who qualifies the best, who scores the most points. And I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think it'll be very difficult for Danny Rick to be better than Yuki Tsunoda. Because Yuki Tsunoda's fast, but he's also very volatile. And I think also, I don't know, so there's a lot of money talks, like who can bring the most money to a team. And Danny Rick has such a personality, and everybody in the whole paddock loves him, and the whole world loves Danny Rick. So I think AlphaTauri will want to keep him. As far as him moving up to Red Bull, I do not see that happening. But that also depends on how good he does and how good Perez does, because Perez has not been having a good year. So I don't know. But my gut feeling is that Danny Rick is going to end up being the team leader at AlphaTauri at least through the end of this season and probably into the next, unless Perez really tanks it and they need to move him up. But I don't think they will. Not in the first season. I've given that a lot of thought. Because I've been watching all the press releases and stuff this week about that.
Yeah, and like running out and sharing things with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, explain. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit me quite the same as it hits you.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was the ones we got beforehand. So now, still talking about some gummy bears. Vinny's World says, I didn't believe it until I tried, but a coworker brought back some Haribo from Germany and they taste different.
See, I thought they were Japanese, but they're not.
No, they're German.
They're German.
So what had happened was, so when I was young, the market we went to was split. And it was all predominantly Japanese. There were some Korean stuff in there, predominantly Japanese on one side, and the other side was German, because I think it was a husband and wife, and I think the wife was Japanese and the husband was German. So it was like you could get all your, like, I don't like Japanese candy. Japanese candy is good to like make somebody experience it. Like, I'm sure I made you try rice candy, right? Where you had to eat the paper. Yeah.
When we first got married,
Yeah. Okay, so it's just something you should experience. It's not good. So all the good candy, like the gummy bears and the Toblerones, like all that's German. And so I got candy on the German side.
And rice on the Japanese side.
And rice on the Japanese side.
Exactly.
And
like
seaweed and snacks. Like, I can't find them. I'm sure I could find them. I've looked. I don't even know if I would like them anymore. I actually really like rice crackers, but the rice crackers that I remember, I cannot find. And like, they used to have actual flat crackers, and they also used to make these like crescent moon shaped, and they were super spicy. We used to eat those when I was little, and I would little, like my sister was a baby, and we'd eat these little spicy rice cracker things, and it was like the only way I would drink water, because you had to like guzzle water because they were so hot. I bet I wouldn't even think they're spicy now, but I have not found them since then. Anyway, that was way not related, but they are German, by the way.
That's funny.
Curtis Chavez says Albanese gummy bears are his favorite, but the Haribo are easier to get. So Albanese, you can see those everywhere here too, but I've never even tried them. Those are the two everybody says are the best. I've never even tried the Albanese ones though.
Sounds like a showdown. Should do it live next week.
Oh, I will say, okay, you know how you buy different size packages of stuff and it tastes different? Like Coke tastes different in a can or in a bottle or in a fountain drink. Okay, so those gummy bears I bought in the little packets do not taste the same.
Really?
I don't really like them, and that's weird.
That is weird.
I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not good. I don't know. I don't know why they would taste different. Maybe they need more like air in the package.
Maybe they're made in different batches or something.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, a different plant.
Yeah, maybe.
Because of packaging? I don't know.
That's the way.
I wonder if Dave knows. He has like all this gummy knowledge now.
Dave.
H. He works in like a gummy factory.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of gummies. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know what kind of gummies he's making.
No,
I'm just saying he probably knows about gummies.
He probably does know about gummies.
I mean, he goes to like gummy workshops. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I will ask. We should We have a group text with him. We should ask him.
By the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I mean, it's the same way with Girl Scout cookies. They're different from different factories.
There's only 2 bakers for Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Oh.
But one makes vegan cookies and one does not.
That's right.
South Carolina, we're right on the line. South Carolina makes vegan cookies. Georgia does not.
Right. Okay.
But the Kroger ones taste just as good.
They do.
I haven't had those in a long time. Now I'm going to want Thin Mints.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Thin Mints.
I'm probably missing.
We're way tangential over here.
Doc Mario says that kind of gummies.
That kind of gum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brian Carpenter says Albanese are the only gummy bears. Haribo will pull your teeth out. That's probably why I like them, because I don't like slimy, mushy gummies. They should have some texture. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Brian Carpenter said, ever considered doing a merchandise swap with supporters? If you're a golfer, I could offer balls and clubs in exchange for pickups.
I have done that in the past. The reason I do not... So if I came on here right now and said, yeah, I would totally trade, whatever for... Then I would never eat. Because this is not a hobby for me. This is how we survive. So it's not reasonable for me to do that very often. And I don't like... I feel that it would sound unkind or be unkind if I was to pick and choose and be like, well, I don't play golf, so you're going to have to pay for your pickups. But Knife Guy over here can trade me a knife for a set of pickups. That just doesn't seem right to me. And so I'm not a government agent or something who can't, accept gifts or whatever. But I don't really like to do it because it is our living and it, yeah. I would feel like I was picking and choosing. Because if I said it right now, I would get an email full by tomorrow. Of 10 different people who had, hey, I'll trade you, ammo might be a consideration.
Raymond Cousins. We never see this, I feel like. Raymond Cousins just became a member of YouTube.
Oh, thanks, Raymond.
And I'm assuming he's here since it just told me.
Excellent, thank you.
I guess he could be anywhere, though. Or would he have to be in this live? I don't know how that works.
No, he should be here, yeah.
Marsha Murray said, I thought all cookies were vegan, but then I've never made them from scratch. Yeah, you would be surprised at how many things have unnecessary milk and eggs in them in the U.S. I don't know if you're in the U.S. Definitely happens here.
Yep.
All right. What are you doing? Are you listening to me? Are you doing something
I'm looking.
else?
I was just looking. Go ahead.
Looking at comments? Do
Yeah.
you want to take over?
Nope.
Killing me. Marsha Murray wants to know, do you think we'll find alien life in our lifetime? Like on Enceladus, I don't know what that word is, Enceladus or Europa? Are those different places? And then he said Enceladus, which is supposed to have an ocean. I have no idea.
I just want high def video.
Proof?
Just show me, man. I just want to know where. I want to see file. I want it can't be some blurry ass thing.
BC Rich asked for clarification. He was like, what type of life? Single cell, microbe, complex life forms? Intelligent life?
I mean, anything. Sure.
Raymond,
But there's got to be video. It's got to be, and it can't be some grainy, crappy thing from 1980. It's got to be,
Raymond Cousin says, I am present. One of my brands is the Lazy Luthier.
Oh, okay, cool. So we've seen him in the comments before then. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Raymond.
Hawkman Hawk says, Mrs. Hawkman says, be careful, don't cut the couch.
I have done it.
Mrs. Hawkman. I like when I hear people's, like, I'm really surprised, I guess, when I hear, like, I mean, I'm here because you want me to be here.
But people like it that you're here, though.
I know, but, I mean, maybe their wives play guitar. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
why
I
would
know.
they be here?
We have a lot of people that watch this just because you're here. Like, their wives watch. I get comments about it.
I remember when people used to watch other things we did, and I always thought it was weird. Especially when there was twice, 2 different times, 2 different couples were like, we were laying in the bed watching your videos. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. Those are neighbors, too.
Yeah, and the guy I work with
Yeah.
was the other one. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's weird. Even though we've totally laid in the bed and
I
watched
mean,
videos.
I lay in the bed and watch videos every day. Like, that's what I do.
It just felt weird, though. I was like, okay.
I don't typically cut the couch, but you see this pattern. It's like a Tweety pattern.
Snags.
I am more likely to have it in my pocket and have the belt clip, or the pocket clip, because it's clipped on my pocket, snag the couch. That's the more likely thing to happen.
Doc Mario says, speaking of which, where did you buy those couches? Looks comfy. Ashley Furniture. I'm sure you can still get it. Angel Raven 444 says, question, what is the best and worst car you ever owned?
Worst, I 100% know.
What?
I know best and worst. Infiniti J30.
My worst
I owned
was
it for 1 month.
a Pontiac Grand Am.
Pontiac Grand Am. Yep. That is a terrible car.
It was a terrible
They were
car.
terrible.
It was like blue also.
Oh.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Like that color blue.
Yeah, they were terrible. Now, at an Infiniti J30, I had a Maxima. I had like 9 Nissan Maximas. And I had a really good Nissan Maxima. And the Snap-on truck pulled into my shop and completely ran it over with the liftgate. Like, he was moving a toolbox for one of my guys. And so the liftgate was down, and he backed over it, and it, like, smashed the whole car, like, clotheslined the whole thing. And so it totaled it. And I'm like, well, I need to get a car. And I'm like, well, Infiniti is just a fancy Maxima. It's actually a fancy Altima, which I didn't realize at the time. Rear-wheel drive, though. I had that car for 1 month, and it was horrendous. And I traded it off in a month and bought a Volvo. And I've been driving European cars for the last 20 years since then. But
Best.
Audi SQ5. That car is the one we have now is probably my favorite. It would be I don't know. Well, it's the fastest and funnest and most practical and comfortable and awesome to road trip with and everything. But our all-wheel drive Golf wagon with the 6-speed was really fun and really good. And our 4Runner was really good. The only reason I would say not the 4Runner is because it was just so old.
Well, it was slow.
And it was really slow.
It was good off-road. It was good size-wise for what we need. So best is hard for me because everything I've had has had a purpose. Mm-hmm. So it was the best for what I needed it
At the
for
time.
at the time.
Mm-hmm. We could have bought anything we wanted right now, though. And this thing is fun.
Yeah.
Because it's an SUV. We could still fit our fridge in it. And we have a power station, like a lithium power station in there for like weekending with. And it's wicked fast. And if it wasn't an S car, I wouldn't say that. But since it's a proper S car, it's because it's got Alcantara everything, and it's just so fun. I love that thing. So yeah, probably that. I miss my Tundras though. I miss my trucks, but
Hawkman Hawk says she doesn't pay attention until after 9. I feel that.
I mean, that's okay. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that.
BC Rich 581 said, I had a 1999 Pontiac Grand Am for 7 years. I don't know how. I feel like mine might have been a 99 also. I really wanted it, and then I hated it. Doc Mario said, gasp. I'm a former Nissan Infiniti engineer, but yeah, those Infinitis were just okay, except for the Q. That car was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 9 Nissan Maximas, I think. I loved them. Everything from like the 87 Gen 1, I guess that's technically a Gen 2, but it's not really. I had a couple 4th generation Maximas. I had 2 3rd generation Maximas, two first or second, whatever.
You cannot give a whole list of everything you've owned.
Yeah, well, no, but just Maximas. And then I've had a Nissan truck. I've had, yeah, we had a Altima, the SER Altima, which was really nice. I really love that car. The only reason I got rid of it is because of the rubber band transmission. I hate CVT transmissions.
I loved that car.
I did too. It was nice.
But we also had a different need.
Which was 50 miles to the gallon. So we bought a Jetta diesel.
Yeah, because I was commuting far away at that time. So it's funny looking at people's cars. Sassy Cat had a Grand Am. Doc Mario says Volvo is worse. Hat Mike said my first brand new car was a 97 Grand Am GT. That thing was garbage. Hawkman Hawk's worst Chevy Vega. Best Ford Focus. Coolest Porsche 924 Turbo.
Ooh. Not actually good, though, but pretty cool.
Stu Crombie said, I had a Chevy Monza. I don't know what that is. Sassy Cat said, remember the Chevy Citation?
Nope. One of my best friends, that was his first car. His grandmother gave him one. And it was like perfect, and it was like 30,000 miles or something. It was perfect. He sold it and bought a Chrysler Laser, which was like a Dodge Daytona turbo with a Mitsubishi engine in it, but it was called a Chrysler instead. We got in a lot of trouble in that car.
All right, I am running behind here. I didn't realize it wasn't scrolling. And now I'm like way behind. Let me grab some of these. Some people want to have conversations. I was trying to just catch up on.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Doc Silton said, worst card, Ford Taurus.
Duh.
Best car, Audi RS5. No surprise there. But I do love my VW TDIs too.
Yeah, I want to drive that RS5. One of these days I'm going to get up there.
Doc Mario says, worst car I ever owned, 87 Camaro IROC Z. Best car, 91 Sentra SER. And I've owned many cars in my lifetime. I had that car.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first car. It was a 91 Sentra SER.
Yep.
With the automatic seat belts.
Yep. Yep.
5-speed.
Those were cool.
That was my favorite car.
That 16 valve in them.
And what did I get when I got rid of that car?
A Grand Am. Oh, you went from like the best to the worst.
Yeah. No comment. No further comment.
No further comments on that subject. I had nothing to do with that.
Not me. It wasn't me either. All right. That was a great question, though. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Rottweiler says, outside of pickups and guitars, what kind of creative build-it-yourself things interest you?
So pickups and guitars are my job, and I really like playing, and I really love music. I am a music lover, not a guitar music lover, a music lover. I love music. So I have in the past, I don't, as far as creating goes right now, I'm kind of limited because we don't have a lot of space here. So, but I used to have, turntables, and I used to mix and like scratch, Serato, all that stuff, which I really love. I love electronic music. And I am a pretty big, I like knives and guns. So I've not, as far as that's not really creative because I've not built any knives. Like I've not made any knives. I'd really like to at some point. I am building a gun for the first time, so that's pretty cool. And I've like built RC cars and anything mechanical. I would like to be in a position to get a couple of motorcycles and restore them again because I like that stuff. I don't really draw or anything. Most of my stuff is like one person skill building. That's why I like shooting, because it's a thing that I can do, that I can continue to get better at, and compete with myself. I like those kinds of things. So I used to skateboard. I used to ride motorcycles, like dirt bikes. So not in a way to race or get better than anybody else, but be with people that were better than me and make myself better at it. And so I like that stuff. I like getting better at a skill more than creating, unless it's music. I love music. So, yeah.
I'm so pretty, oh so pretty. Have you found any creative uses of the 10-pack of hot sauces that Jack Wagon sent you? I don't know what Jack Wagon is, but are you using your sauces?
I am. I have been using them, and yeah, they're different. They're so different, all of them. They're,
very,
very, very different. Some of them are more like spicy barbecue sauce. Some of them are like ranch that's really wicked spicy. There's some, it's kind of fun, actually. I've been using them.
One is like a tahini base. One is like a mushroom base.
Yeah.
What's the other weird one that was unexpected? What's the green base one that Bryson likes? That was an Indian base, wasn't it?
It was like curry almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, we've been having fun with it.
Timothy Potter said, Leslie, what is your favorite homemade vegan recipe?
Baked potato.
As an omnivore, I'm always looking for a new dish. I eat pretty much anything except liver and oysters. Well, liver and oysters would not be on anything I'm eating, so.
Nope.
Favorite homemade recipe? I mean, does that mean it has to have more than one ingredient? Like, I have a lot of favorites that we don't make very often. But I don't know what you like. I can make almost anything vegan, so I don't think about it. And it's been 16 years, so I don't think about it either.
Yeah, that's a weird question.
It's so hard for me. And I'm not a good recipe person. I'm like, read a recipe. Oh, that's a great idea. And then I don't even look at the recipe. No, I'll just do what I want to do.
Just pour stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't have like cookbooks or recipes.
I don't cook with a recipe either. To a fault.
I look at them, and I don't even look at exclusive vegan recipes. I usually look for inspiration. And it's usually because I have some obscure ingredient that I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to use this.
I
What
have
can I put it in?
4 of these ingredients of
Yeah.
this 10 that I need,
Yeah.
and one of these is going to go bad by
I
tomorrow.
don't like
so I
to
need to
waste
figure out how to
things.
do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
We buy a lot of fresh produce, and I don't like
Yeah.
to waste it.
You'll buy a bunch of produce, right? And you'll make something, and you'll forget to use one of the ingredients.
No, that's just you.
That's just me. And then the next day or a couple of days later, it's like I have this one ingredient and it's going to go bad. And if I don't use it right now, it's going to go bad. So I need to cook it and put it in something. So it's just going to be some weird food that I come up with to make that happen.
And I don't know if this is related to the same conversation. I just saw Angel Raven 444 said Caesar salad. Caesar salad is definitely not vegan.
I mean, I can make it vegan.
I know, but it doesn't come vegan
No.
at all. I think it has like sardines or something dumb in it.
Oh, yeah.
An egg. Isn't it egg based? Is the dressing?
The dressing is an egg base, yeah.
And fish something. Something's fishy.
I think it's sardines.
Something's fishy.
I think it's sardines, egg, and milk in
I miss
real
my
Caesar dressing.
grandma's potato salad. We've had potato salad a couple times lately.
And
I
it's
really
been
like
good.
potato salad.
That stuff that our friend made us the other night was really good. I liked it.
Oh, so maybe you like German potato salad better.
Because it's more vinegary. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I don't like yours, though. Because I really like whatever we made
I
last
like
week.
traditional. I mean, I'm
Like
from the South.
You're from the South, though.
I like potato
So
salad.
the creamier
but
sort of potato salad.
I get German potato salad too.
Yeah, because vinegar is good.
Well, you like vinegar.
I love vinegar.
Sometimes, so things that should taste like vinegar, I like. But, for instance, I like that potato salad. Don't get me wrong. But I have to like mentally prepare myself because if I just eat it, so vinegar gives the same feeling on my tongue that something soured does.
Okay.
So I have to like consciously choose to eat it because like my brain is like, this potato shouldn't taste like it's bad. Because that's what I default
Wait,
to.
so sour cream and onion potato chips? I mean, not sour cream, like salt and vinegar potato chips you don't like either?
No, I do.
Because
Those are chips though.
Okay. I'm just saying, but that taste.
I'm saying I'm saying foods that shouldn't be vinegary
Okay.
is a strange thing to me.
Yeah.
No, I like vinegar and pickled things. Like
Yeah, me
that's
too.
not a problem, but a potato's not supposed to taste like that.
I really like pickled things.
I know. Yeah, Doc says it's anchovy paste in Caesar salad. I knew it was something.
Yeah.
I just saw somebody that we're friends with was super excited because they were making a fresh Caesar. And I remember there was like an egg yolk and some kind of fishy something. And I was like, and you just eat that raw? Like, did I used to eat that? Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't think about all that. I've had issues a long time. So I don't know, Timothy Potter, what my favorite recipe would be. I don't know. Gary Simmons says, given your Native American background, at first I thought he said, give me your Native American background. I was like the whole story?
I can't give it to you because it's in me.
Given your Native American background, what's your take on the secret of Skinwalker Ranch? Why is that everybody's first question? I feel like a lot of people ask that specific thing.
Yep. How do I address this?
While you're thinking, Timothy Potter said drinking ice cold Clausen pickle juice is so good. I just like the fact that you like good pickles. Just
Didn't
gonna
we
say
learn at a booze tasting
that. At a distillery?
at a distillery that if you chase,
I don't think that's new. I think that was new to us, honey.
I never heard that before, that if you chase what you're tasting with pickle juice, it resets your palate.
It's a palate cleanser.
Yeah. That was really cool. It worked awesome.
It did work. It was really strange because I was like, the next thing I'm going to drink is going to taste terrible. It's going to taste like pickle juice, and it didn't.
The Skinwalker Ranch thing. I didn't watch the Netflix thing. I'll get on to why in a minute. But because, well, I did watch. I started to watch it and I did not finish it. And the reason I didn't finish it is because I feel that it was Native American culture is very commonly misrepresented in a way that I feel is very disrespectful to the way, let's say, okay, so if you have a Native American elder of any tribe and they tell you their story in the best way that they can, sitting around in a living room, whatever, that's what they want to pass on to you because that's the story they're telling you. There's a lot, I'm not saying all, but there's a lot of misrepresentation of what that culture is in television and movies. And I feel that show was very, very much that. If you believe what's in that show to be true, you have no idea about Native American culture, what it's really like. So I did not entertain it. As far as the stuff that happens on Indian reservations and like skinwalkers and all that kind of stuff, some of the religious stuff that happens, I've seen it myself. So, and I don't mess with it. So, because I've lived there, I've been there, I've seen that stuff. And whether you believe it in your culture or not, it is real to those of us that have experienced it, and I don't mess with it. So that's the other reason why I don't spend a lot of time on that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. But the misrepresentation in television and movies really, really bugs me. So a lot of times I won't watch that stuff. As soon as like and they're like trying to tell you stuff and it's fairly accurate, to be fairly accurate, I will listen because I want to learn. But I will tell you that it is just like anything else. It will be given from a perspective of a white person. And that will often not be close to what actually happened until you really
Yeah, and it's like any story. So you telling that story made me think, of course I work in accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
There was a movie, all the rage, got a bunch of awards, CODA.
Yep.
But I know somebody who is CODA, and I didn't watch the movie because I had mixed feelings about it. And I asked that person, similar to what you're talking about, so are you telling the story of somebody who's not even a part of the story, right? I asked that person what they thought about it. And she said similar. She was like, I refuse to watch it because everything I've heard is in no way, shape, or form demonstrates what life is really like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't care.
And CODA is children of deaf adults, by the way.
Children of deaf adults. I don't mind theatrical representations of stuff. That doesn't bother me. I mean, you know.
This was presented as a documentary.
Oh, yeah, see, that's... So I don't mind, you know, if it's a science fiction movie or if it's an old Western, I mean, you know an old Western is just going to be an old Western. I get that. But if they're trying to portray something that really happened, and it does not respectfully portray what actually happened, that bothers me. And if it is a historical, if it is a documentary, but it is very pushed one side, well, you know, we live in the South too. So even if you look at anything to do with slavery, you watch some kind of documentary on slavery. Well, let me tell you what, I can drive to that place that they're talking about on that road, and I can tell you that that's not actually what happened there. And that's not what those people that are related to those people who are still alive think. Like, so there's real things, you know. So it's just about, it's like anything else. And I don't get too wrapped up into it. I'm not like a huge activist. I don't care. I don't want to say I don't care what other people think. I in no way intend to judge or affect the way somebody, if you go watch Dances with Wolves, I'm not going to think less of you for doing that. Because if you find it entertaining, you find it entertaining. I'm not going to watch Dances with Wolves because I think it's stupid. But I don't think less of you for doing it. You know, it's just like not eating meat. I don't eat meat. I will still sit at a table with you and you can eat a steak and it's not going to offend me. So I'm not like that. But for me personally, I stay away from that stuff. And we probably got way deeper on all that than is necessary. But I like people to know too. Because a lot of people some people get almost offended when I say that I'm Native American. And I'm like, it's where I'm from, dude. You know?
I just had to ban somebody.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Why?
Because they didn't want to be here, apparently. He was mad that we didn't answer his question. And then I got a, you suck, and then I let that through, and then it was more hateful. He said I shouldn't have to send a super chat. People told him what was up. I told him he was welcome to come back on time next week. Show up on time. It's an hour and a half into the live stream, dude. And then he said, we probably wouldn't know the answer to his question anyway because we look like we enjoy eating too much. And I was like, bye, ban.
Douchebag alert.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah, they don't have time for that stuff.
Anyway, thank y'all for jumping in. Usually they just pass, right? Like, they realize what's up and they chill out and they realize the audience is cool with it. So then they're cool with it. But obviously, I mean, he's got more problems than a hyper switch. I'm just saying.
Yep. Whatever. And everybody's talking about cars in here still too, which I love. Because it's funny because I love guitar stuff and I make a living with it. But if I love guitars this much, I like things with internal combustion engines this much. Motorcycles and cars. I'm not saying I should have started a car YouTube channel 10 years ago, but man, if I did, none of you would be here. So I guess that's the wrong thing to say, but yeah.
I don't usually let stuff get to me, but. Super chat from Benny's World. Thank you for the super chat, Benny. He said, pair character bowing down saying thank you.
Every time I see Vinny's World, all I think is party time, excellent. Even though it's Wayne's World, but yeah.
Oh, well.
Jeff.
Yeah.
It's past your bedtime, but you're not cranky and rude. No, this is awesome. I love doing this.
I mean, obviously the people who are still here do too. And again, like there's some people who are like, cool, guitar time's over, I gotta go. Like, and that's cool too. And then you got Hawkman Hawks here. He's like, my wife tunes in when it starts at 9. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I think
we're not for everybody.
No, which is fine.
We're tequila, not tea. We're not for everybody.
Which is totally fine. And I think, I don't know. I could probably be friends with most of these people in
For
here.
sure. We
You
are
know?
friends with a lot of people.
Yeah, we are friends with a lot of them, and I appreciate y'all for sure.
Sometimes I should keep my mouth shut. Super chat from Doc Siltonen. Thank you, Doc, for the super chat. He said, more problems than a hyper switch. I'd wear that on a t-shirt.
I didn't even know what his question was about. Apparently it was about
a hyper switch, but I've blocked it now. He was talking about like downloaded an app twice. He was already complaining even in his question.
Oh, yeah.
But
He
whatever.
just doesn't know how to use technology.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Doesn't know how to talk to people either.
Apparently not. Yeah. I think that's the trick. I think you have to learn how to use your phone, but you also have to not lose people skills and how to be a human being. If you can do that, you're going to make it far in the world. We've been talking about this a lot lately. I think learning this technology stuff is important. It is important. Because you have to. It's like...
You mean learning how to use technology?
Yeah,
like
learning how to use a
advancing
phone
with-
and doing this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I still have a flip phone. Well, I can't help you,
Yeah.
you know. And I understand. I know some people will be like, well, it's a choice for me. Well, it is a choice. That's okay. That's fine. But just know that like me using those scanny things in our orders. I've had a couple of people get really upset about it. And I'm like, it's 2023, man.
I mean, the QR code made the best resurgence during COVID. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because now we don't have to look at a paper menu at a restaurant hardly anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brianna was telling me this last night. She said that people are getting very pissed.
About the scan to pay?
So my daughter works at a restaurant, and they are rolling out a thing where you scan the
I thought it was fabulous.
QR code on the table, and you just pay with your phone. Which I understand that not everybody has a payment method set up in their phone and all that stuff. So it might take you a couple of minutes longer. But she said they're grading them, like they get less hours if they have a low percentage of it and stuff. Like it's a serious deal where they work.
What do you mean they get less hours? How can you help it if somebody pays with cash? Why do you get punished for that?
You should ask her about it. She's not happy.
That doesn't
about
even
it.
make sense.
Yeah. Anyway, same thing with Red Robin, where the little thing is on the table and you scan the thing and do the stuff. Like, learn 2023 stuff. I mean, my car won't work without my phone. Like, I have to have my phone in there to do just about everything. Like, and I know that there will be some people that will be like, well, I still have a flip phone. Okay, that's okay. Just know that your experience in life is going to be different in 2023 because you choose.
Yeah, and
to
you
not
can't be
use this
upset with
stuff.
other people
Yeah.
as a result
Don't
of
be
your
upset
decisions.
with me because
Yeah.
the way I run my business is in an automated fashion for efficiency and profitability and etc. That we use a chat on our web. I had somebody K me on a chat today. Like, like
That just means you're old.
be upset with me about
What's wrong with K?
no, it was a snarky situation. They didn't like the answer I gave them because we don't make a pickup.
Oh.
And it was one of those things where it was like, this is how we do it. This is efficient. This is 2023. And if you want to shop somewhere else that gives you a paper receipt and gives you a,
Oh, they wanted to do something?
it was old-fashioned kind of stuff. And I was like, I can't do it. We don't do that here, So, which is okay. I mean, it's totally fine. I don't get upset when people don't buy from us because we don't give them the experience they want. I would rather that happen.
Yeah.
I would rather, oops, sorry. I would rather somebody know right now that they will not get the experience that they are expecting and that they should go somewhere else than them purchase from me and then be upset because they didn't get the experience. Like, and I feel like that way at a restaurant. I feel like that way, you know, I will go to a place because they have a certain feature, you know.
Steve Rezer just said, like he has a theory, or maybe he knows, she gets less money because someone is not getting money from your data. There probably are incentives. That does make sense. Which is weird because she's been in the opposite situation before. Yeah, I didn't think of that. You're probably right, Steve. Hawkman Hawk says, I'm fine with the thing on the table, but Outback brought a thing to the table and they stand there while you pay and tip. Not happy with that. I get that, but like, what do you do? There's so many like counter service places now where you have to pay and tip. Like, so what?
Anytime they can bring a device to me and I can pay with my watch or my phone, I'm down.
Yeah.
And standing there while they tip, this may not be you, but I've watched people, and it's because people don't want to tip. And people that don't want to tip, I will not go out to eat with you. If you do not want to eat, if you do not want to tip, I will not go out to eat with you. And if you do it...
Or if you eat with your mouth open, or if you're rude to wait staff.
Yes.
Those are the 3 reasons I will not eat with people.
Yep.
Just
I
saying.
will not do it because...
and I've eaten with some of you that are watching. So.
That's part of the service. And
Yeah.
if you're rude to wait staff or if you do not tip them, I will never eat with you again. Because I just feel that it's wrong. Valuing somebody is... but see, on the other hand, this is what me and Brianna...
I've not been to Outback, though, so I don't
This is
know.
what me and Brianna were talking about yesterday. On the other hand, she said the other thing they're trying to encourage people to do is order with the app while they're at the station while they're waiting for their table.
What if they're not sat?
And they're not sat yet.
I know, but what if
And
they
they
don't
want them
get...
to use the scanny thing on the... And I'm like, no. Because that's too far for me. Because I came here...
To get served.
To get served.
Yeah.
I want to sit at a table and I want you to bring me a beer.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That
like,
is strange.
I paid for this, right? And I paid for it, so I will pay for it. So I will tip you, and it's part of your wage and whatever, and I will do that.
But that will
That's totally
affect
fine.
her for sure. Because, I mean, if that was my experience, if that was my experience. So there's a different level of service, right? Like, I tip different than when I get, like, a full service restaurant experience versus
Starbucks.
table service and I have to clean up my own mess.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
that's totally different. But yeah, so that's going to affect her.
Well, see, and I was telling her too. I was like, what sucks about that is that takes the salesmanship out of the serving. So if they order a water and some chicken wings or a Coke and some chicken wings, that takes the have you tried this new beer out. I mean, she could up a ticket by however much dollars by the salesmanship that because she's really good at it. And that would also up the whole tip thing at the end. So they're taking all that away. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Maybe it won't work. I don't know.
Jeffrey Egan said amen to not eating with people who eat with their mouth open.
Oh,
Yes.
dude. No.
One of the people I've eaten with.
Yeah, we have eaten with Jeff Egan.
Yeah, and Marcia Murray said, it's funny hearing people rationalize not tipping, like, bruh, you're just cheap. Yeah, and to me,
100%.
that is, that should be factored in. Like, if you can't afford to go out to eat, don't go out to eat.
Right. It is.
Same with delivery, though. Like, and I didn't know, so way back when, before all this delivery was common, I remember asking somebody one time, like, okay, I just paid like a delivery charge. Do you get that? Because, you know, like, okay, you go in a big party and they like automatically add a tip. So when I got delivery, I was like, wait, do you get this delivery charge? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so then it made me tip different because
Yeah.
I could have assumed that was there for them, but it wasn't. But you just have to take all those things it's part of it. Anyway, if I
Yeah.
get something delivered, I also I know a lot of people doing that and why they're doing it. So it's like you have a different level of empathy for, I needed this convenience and you provided me a service that I needed. You know, like,
Well,
you should get a good tip.
I just know that I preach value of time all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we appreciate the super chats. That's why we appreciate Patreon. That's why we appreciate cooperation with the chat bot thing. Well, even though it's not a bot, it's actually me. We appreciate that stuff. And I know that it affects our efficiency. When you run your own business and we never close, like CSI Miami, David Caruso, we never close. Like, I'm glad that people value my time and don't mind that if you send me a message right now at 10 o'clock at night, that I'm not going to get back to you until tomorrow. And that you'll be a Patreon member and you'll ask me on Patreon and you'll know that, you know, that's worth that. So I make sure that I do that for other people. So I make sure, I just want to practice what I preach on that stuff.
Yeah. Doc Silton
Valuing
just said
people.
the only people who don't tip are people who've never worked in food service industry. 20% always. I've never worked in food service, but I still tip.
Yeah, I will too.
I will, yeah.
I just appreciate
I
people.
haven't done a lot of those typical first jobs.
No, you
I never
haven't.
worked in a grocery store. I've not done anything in food.
You like started out as a professional. You worked in a mall.
I worked in a mall. NASCAR. I mean, that's classy.
She worked in one of those NASCAR kiosks selling NASCAR jackets and memorabilia, right?
And what's the scale? What's the scale cars? Like that big?
Oh,
What's
like
that
the
scale?
124th scale
Yeah,
cars?
124.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Back in the time when I knew every driver. I don't know every driver now, and they're all old.
They're not all old. They're all like 12 years old.
No, the people I knew are
Oh,
are
the people
old.
you knew are all
Yeah,
very
they're
old.
all old.
Everybody's all retired, and all these new guys are like, hi, I'm 12, and I've won 17 races already. Yeah, they're really young.
Yeah, everybody's like, you should work a job with tips. I've never done that.
Yep.
I think that would really intimidate me. I like consistency.
You do.
Unless
That's why
it goes
you-
up.
That's why you have a real job and I don't.
That is true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
We
do.
complement each other pretty well in that because you couldn't do what I do.
I don't think so.
I don't mean you couldn't do what I could, like, make pickups. I'm saying live the way I live. Like, I mean,
No,
it's us.
I mean,
but-
we don't have the same attitude about any of
No.
that. Yeah. I would be a wreck.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I am. When it's slow, I'm like, I haven't sold anything, you know.
No, I couldn't do what you do.
But it goes in streaks, and it's
Even when I was super successful,
selling stuff.
like I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's more to it. Like,
Oh, when you were selling makeup,
benefits and-
you still kept a real job. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that's fear, maybe that's lack of confidence. Like, I don't know, but I don't have the same entrepreneur brain that you do.
I've almost never had a real job.
I mean, I could work for you and make you do a lot of things, but it wouldn't mean I would be productive. I would just tell you what to do, which is what I tend to do now.
I don't know. I think we have it pretty well figured out.
I just need to be like a consultant, tell you what to do.
I have done that. I've done the consulting thing too a lot, actually. And I can do that, but it's not as consistent as having a product. I wish I could just do nothing but consult and teach, but YouTube gods haven't.
There's YouTube gods.
Well, whoever grants you 500,000 subscribers and the
So
views to support it haven't done that for me yet. So
Vinny's World said in some countries out in this part of the world, on top of phone menus, they're using robots to bus food to tables. I don't know. We've heard
There's
of
a Mexican restaurant
one
here.
restaurant here. My mom and daughter went, and I was like, what? So I've not experienced that yet. I know, like, there's even like fancy, like, what's those places? I feel like they're all Asian based, like the conveyor belt things, like sushi and stuff.
Oh yeah, like a sushi. But that's all Japanese.
But I think
and
you
Chinese.
still tip, yeah. And so other countries probably make
Mm-hmm.
a living wage versus relying on tips.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is really strange. Angel Raven 444 says, "Did you get much in tips when you did the ice cream bicycle gig?"
Oh yeah, that was probably hour for hour the most money I've ever made doing anything. But you only worked 3 hours a week, but you made.
And you worked when everybody else was having fun.
Yeah, I made lawyer money. I mean, it was $1,000 an hour, but that's the problem. Is you're working Saturdays, Sunday. You're working when everybody else is having fun because that's when they want ice cream. But you're making $1,000 an hour. I mean, it was crazy, and it was all cash. We would come home. I would come home from that, and literally have a backpack like full of cash, like on the dining room table, like a friggin' drug house, like mounds of cash. It was so crazy. And then the best thing we did was we started taking credit cards and made a $5 minimum order on the credit card. And, you would sell your average ticket on that was usually 15 or 20 bucks because like 6 people would come over and they would all put it on one credit card. Yeah, we would make that. That was amazing. That business was really good, but it was a lot of work and it wasn't really scalable. So I sold it, but it was good. Well, it is 10 o'clock, yo. And I'm working on a Amazon Prime series. So I'm probably going to watch one more episode of that before I go to sleep. Plus,
I don't remember what I was watching.
we have all the stuff in the living room. The reason we did this is because our air is still not sorted out and the office is really hot. So we moved in here tonight.
So he's got me in a wind tunnel, and I have super sensitive eyes, and my eyes are like constantly watering.
Yeah.
And there's a bright light right here.
Yeah. So the whole studio is in the living
So
room
my
tonight.
eyes need a break.
Well,
Anyway, I'll stop whining.
I guess you could just call it, and we will. Somebody said Dylan and Leslie for president 2024. No.
No politics.
No politics for us. Thanks for hanging out, y'all.